Sup, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. What is today? Today's Monday. This is a late episode because guess what? It's 2017 and we are no longer in 2016, obviously.
Thank God.
I have no idea where I was going with that. Oh, we didn't do the episode yesterday because it was New Year's and Spencer was in Denver, but he's here now and we are going to be doing the episode now. We've been messaging on Facebook and stuff. We are giving away 2 digital copies of movies today. Deadpool and Sing Street both came out this last year and may or may not be some of the best movies of the year. Today we will be talking about our watch lists, and then we're going to be going over our reviews for Lion, and then we're going to be going over our reviews for Jackie. So to start us off, just remember before I do that, do the handoff down in the description. Once this live stream is ended and once we officially publish the video, we will have like hyperlinks with the time codes. So if you haven't seen one of these movies, you can then skip around through the video to quickly and easily find the review that you're looking for. All of that out of the way. Spencer, what's on your watch list?
So I actually have a really short watch list. It was a rather wild week for me. So I'm going to be talking quickly about Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is a TV show. I've actually watched it all the way through and just went back and started watching again because season 3 should be airing pretty soon. But it's an Adult Swim cartoon that tells the story of a grandpa and his grandson, kind of as they go through interdimensional traveling and a bunch of other crazy science fiction stories. And this show is so awesome. Rick and Morty is hands down one of my favorite TV shows on TV. It's actually in the top 10 IMDb TV shows, which is pretty wild because it's a cartoon. It's like the highest ranked cartoon, but it's seriously so consistent. Basically every episode of every season, I think there's only one weak episode that's in season 2. And it's not weak, it's just not as good as the other ones. But they have some truly genius concepts in this show. I would highly recommend it. Ryan, you haven't watched Rick and Morty, have you?
I haven't, but it's on my list. I have a list of 3 specific shows that I need to start watching, and that's one of them. I got caught up with this, actually. I'm not going to talk about it yet, The Girlfriend Experience, but that's what's distracted me from watching Rick and Morty.
Well, I don't have a score for this one. I would score it pretty high if I was going to score it, but it's just a little bit too early in the show. We're only 2 seasons in, so it's not a show that I really feel like scoring until it's a little bit more complete. But like I said, it would be a very high score. I think if you're viewing this show right now, you are the target audience for Rick and Morty. Everybody is like, who's kind of nerdy and likes nerdy stuff. You're the target audience for Rick and Morty. So definitely check it out if you have the chance. That wraps up my watch list. So Ryan, what have you been watching this week?
Oh man, yours was really short. You said it was short, but I wasn't expecting this soon. So first off, The Girlfriend Experience. I did start watching that, but I'm only like 3 episodes in, so I want to hold off on that. My first movie that I've been watching is Ain't Them Body Saints. This is directed by David Lowery, starring Casey Affleck, Rooney Mara, Ben Foster, and Nate Parker. All of these people, Oscar consideration. Holy cow, what a stacked, except for Rooney Mara. I don't know if she'll necessarily get much. She may be for Lion. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I saw Lion early in the week, which got me excited. And so I realized how much I actually really like Rooney Mara. And so I went back and I started watching a bunch of hers. I hadn't seen this movie yet. And I ended up really, really enjoying it. I was talking to Steven about it the other day, and I agree with something he said. The first act is really, really strong and awesome. The second act, there tends to be some moments where it may veer off course or get a little slow, but then the third act is a strong third act as well. And I I walked away really enjoying this. It's on Netflix right now, so if you want to catch it, there's no reason not to. I give it an 8.75. I posted a video yesterday, which the link will be in the description, for most anticipated of 2017, which is a David Lowery film with Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara in it as well. So great things. I'm excited for this one.
Wait, what was the movie from 2017?
Ghost House. Ghost
House?
Story? Ghost House.
I think, is it the one going, yeah, A Ghost Story. Yeah, I was just looking at that the other day.
Yeah, so super excited for that. Do you have any thoughts on Ain't Them Body Saints?
I really liked Ain't Them Body Saints. I'm a huge Casey Affleck fan, so I saw this movie basically as soon as I could. It was a couple years ago, and I really wound up liking it. I remember it being really slow paced, but I thought it paid off in the end. And like you said, the third act of that movie, particularly like the final scene, is super, super powerful stuff. And the acting, powerhouse performances across the board.
Awesome. So my next one, I was able to travel up to Salt Lake and catch The Eagle Huntress. I've been hearing a lot about this for a few weeks, maybe even months now. And it's been there. I just haven't had time to actually go and sit down and watch it. This is a documentary that follows a girl. Her name is, I'm going to butcher it, Asia Flan or something like that. She's a 13-year-old girl, and it follows her story as she tries to become the first eagle hunter that's a woman, an eagle huntress. This is normally a tradition and a job that's passed down from father to son, and they have a big competition and stuff every year, and she wants to be an eagle huntress. And so this kind of follows her story. It's actually narrated by Daisy Ridley. Kind of cool. I ended up really liking it as well. Everything that I saw this week, I actually really liked. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. You could probably look forward to seeing this come Oscar season. Very solid documentary. There's a few other documentaries that I've seen on Netflix this year that probably could be. I don't know if they ever got theatrical releases, though, so I don't know Oscar-wise what's actually going to be in the race, but don't be surprised if you hear Eagle Huntress in the mix. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
No, I actually didn't even know what this movie was about until you just started speaking. I heard Daisy Ridley was in a movie called The Eagle Huntress, so I pictured something completely different than what you just said. So I'll have to check it out. That sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, it's only like 85 minutes long, so it's definitely one. I think in the next month it'll pop up on streaming services. So if it's not playing near you, definitely go check that one out. Next is Once. I was going over my favorite movies of 2016, and I was thinking about John Carney and how awesome of a director he is, and how well he's able to mix music and visual. And so I decided to go back, and I actually bought the Blu-ray for this finally, and so I went back and watched it. And Once is such a solid movie. This was the first one, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first one that he attempted making the music a huge feature and making a video about music featuring music. It's not necessarily a musical, but it is, in that vein, like Sing Street and Begin Again. So this is the big one. It got a little bit of Oscar buzz. It won an Oscar for some of the music, and the thing that I love the most about this movie is how self-contained it is. It's just the whole story, it's either a week or a weekend. You just got this small amount of time about this guy and this girl and music. And it's so self-contained and so on point, and it doesn't mess around. It's straightforward, and it's such a beautiful story. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I know you've seen it. What are your thoughts?
No, this is my favorite John Carney movie. Like, I really like Sing Street, and it's probably the better movie, but Once is my favorite John Carney movie. There's like some scenes in there. It was made on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
And it's really a movie about how music like affects and touches us and reaches to people. And you know, there's a couple technical flaws in the movie. There's a scene where the main girl, Markita Irglova, I believe the actress's name is, she's walking down the street and you can see the filmmaker's shadows. And so there's a couple mistakes in the movie, but I think almost that adds to the charm of the movie.
Yeah.
And knowing that, I mean, being somebody who watches a lot of movies and can recognize when something was made on a low budget, and knowing the magic that this movie captures, particularly in that first scene between them where they're singing Falling Slowly, which went on to win the best original song. It's like movie magic. It was so good. And the ending of Once is one of my favorite movie endings I've ever seen. It's really a movie about two people like meeting each other and like connecting and helping each other ultimately become better people. And I think that's a really touching message. I love Once. I'd probably give it almost close to a perfect score. Like I said, couple technical issues. I'd probably say I'd score it like a 9.5 maybe.
You know, it's a solid movie. And I watched it a long time ago. So going back and rewatching it, I was astonished kind of how solid it is. And you can, like you said, you can tell it's a low budget, but it still holds up story-wise. And I really appreciated that. So I think that's actually it for my watch list and your watch list. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to give away the first movie. So for Deadpool, let me just kind of give you the lowdown on how to win Deadpool. In the live chat, you have to be watching now or within the next 20 minutes to win Deadpool. In the chat, it's probably right here actually. In the chat, go ahead and comment and let us know what's on your watch list. What have you been watching in the last, I don't know, week, 2 weeks, over the Christmas break? What has been on your watch list? Let us know at the end of the episode. We'll bring this up in between Lion and Jackie again, and then at the end of the episode, we're going to give away to anyone who comments. We're going to give away this one. Next, we'll be giving away Sing Street, and we'll talk about that at the end. So that aside, let's get into our first wide release of this week.
I got this one. The first wide release that we're going to be talking about this week is Lion, and I have the plot pulled up on IMDb, and it says a 5-year-old Indian boy gets lost on the streets of Calcutta, thousands of kilometers from home. He survives many challenges before being adopted by a couple in Australia. 25 years later, he sets out to find his lost family. Ryan, what did you think of Lion?
Well, I kind of briefly talked about it when I was talking about Ain't Them Body Saints. My favorite thing about this movie was probably the performances. It was a very touching story, and I didn't know much about it going into it. I had seen the trailer, but somehow it had gotten past me that this was based on a true story. So kind of the ending, wrapping it up, it's like, hey, yeah, this is a true story. That made it even more impactful that this stuff happens. It's a very insightful movie talking about India and overpopulation and stuff like that. But just walking out of this movie, I realized how much I like Rooney Mara and how diverse she is in her roles. She's played this. She's played her character in Carol, and both of those are like night and day compared to the girl with the dragon tattoo. And she can play them all so well. As well, Dev Patel, he is probably going to get nominated for an Oscar. Overall, I wasn't as into the movie as I hoped I would have been, but the performances were really, really stellar. And that's kind of what I walked out of it thinking was, and it was interesting because I was debating, do I go see La La Land again or do I go see Lion? La La Land was sold out, and Lion, there was 4 other people in the theater with me. So it's kind of an interesting thing to kind of see. Maybe the marketing was really bad on this movie. But I think a lot of people will enjoy this, and it's not like it's this hardcore rated R kind of a biopic. It's suited towards family, so I'm interested to see kind of everyone's reactions to this, and I'd like to hear your reactions. But characters were the best part. What were you thinking walking out of it?
Excuse me. So actually, a movie that I found very similar to this is another Dev Patel movie, Slumdog Millionaire. I think Slumdog Millionaire is the better film out of these two. I was a lot more moved by the emotional arc that the characters went through in Slumdog Millionaire. However, this is a solid movie, as you said. I wouldn't say it's anything to call home about. I don't know if I would nominate Dev Patel. The person who really stole the show for me was the little Sonny Power, I believe, or Power or something. He was like freakishly good. I could not believe the type of things that kid did in his performance. And it's his first performance, which is super, super impressive. As I said, it's a really solid movie. Like you said, I think lots of people will enjoy it. It seemed the audience I saw it with responded pretty well emotionally to the movie. I personally wasn't floored by the kind of emotional arc in the end the way I kind of wanted to be. And I think it's because after the first half of the movie, I feel like they had a more difficult time showing us, or kind of more telling us, the kind of internal struggle of this character. And I really felt like Rooney Mara was they didn't use her properly, because as you said, you brought up Carol and the girl with the dragon tattoo. I'm a huge fan of Rooney Mara. I think she's excellent in those movies. I also think she's excellent in Ain't Them Bodies Saints. And in this movie, I feel like she did good with what she had.
Right.
However, they don't resolve the kind of conflict that the two characters have, her and Dev Patel. They never address it. They show a scene at the end where he says, like, basically, you know, I'll come back. But then they never show that scene of him and her like working things out. And I thought for me that was kind of something that I needed, because I felt that between those two characters, he kind of neglected her in a way emotionally that I felt like kind of alienated me as an audience member, and I wanted to see that conflict resolved. And sorry if that's a little bit spoilery. I don't feel like it's too spoilery, because it kind of is something that is set up pretty early in the movie, that they kind of have a struggle because he feels like his character feels like he doesn't belong in the place that he is. And that's a lot of what they show us in the movie. And we see Dev Patel kind of feeling that. And that's kind of the only thing that really shows us, is him looking and seeing like image, or his brother, you know, like the spirit, I guess, of his brother and all that. And I found that stuff touching. I just feel like they could have translated kind of some of the emotions better to screen in the third act. That being said, as I said before, the audience I was in responded well to this movie. There were tons of people who were like moved to tears in the end of the movie. And I think it's a very touching movie. I think it's an incredible story. As you said, it deals with lots of kind of heavy, interesting topics, such as overpopulation, such as human trafficking in India. And all that stuff was really interesting to me. I just walked away a little bit underwhelmed. I thought the first half was much better than the second half of the movie.
You said the first half, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and score a 7 out of 10, and then kind of go, maybe this could be considered a little bit spoiler, but I want to talk a little bit more about that and kind of your thoughts, because I had very similar ones. I was most intrigued, and I don't want to talk about acts, because I don't know how to split this into acts.
I'd say it's a 2-act movie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's more like halves. And so you've got the first act, which is the young kid, and it's kind of, this is another issue that I've had with a lot of trailers this year. The trailer focuses on Dev Patel and Rooney Mara, because that's how you're going to sell the movie. But that literally, I checked my watch, that literally happens in the middle of the movie. The whole first half of the movie is this little kid, and I was into that. I really, really liked that. And the things that they were doing and establishing and talking about, that was the highlight of the movie. And then you kind of get this afterthought of, hey, yeah, this is a true story and we're going to tie it all up now. This is yours. But I couldn't get as invested in the latter characters because just kind of the transition was weird to me. But that being said, like you were saying, they did good with what they had. And we haven't even mentioned Nicole Kidman. I actually really liked what Nicole Kidman was able to do. I don't know Oscar stuff, how they would decide who's supporting actress over her and Rooney Mara and stuff. But I think they could both have a chance because they were able to do such a good job with all right, passable material. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Kind of weird for me. I don't know how I felt at the end. I liked it. Those things aside, I still had a good experience. And so I don't want to focus on them too much because I feel like an average moviegoer is going to not pick up on that and they're going to enjoy the ride anyways.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like most people who walk away, I'm giving this a 7.5 out of 10, by the way, but I feel like most people who walk out of this will be happy with the experience that they had and they'll be glad that they took it. Because I mean, I was glad that I saw this movie. I still think it was worth watching. As you said, Nicole Kidman, particularly in one scene, did a excellent job in this movie. I actually character than I character. And I mean, she wasn't in the movie. As you said, it wasn't something that totally just knocked me over. And there's been so many strong dramas this year that I feel like this one was a little bit weak compared to some of the other ones. But I think I am ready to move on to the next film. So Ryan, are you going to take this one?
Before we get into talking about Jackie, I did want to remind you that we're giving away these two movies, Sing Street and Deadpool. A little bit earlier, I said that we were doing Deadpool by like live chat comments, but our video was being dumb, and we're going to be doing this the same thing. Go ahead and tell us in the comments. I guess the comments are down there. What's on your watch list? What have you been watching lately? And if you would suggest it or not. We'll go through over the next couple of days. By next Sunday in our video, we will announce the winners of Deadpool and Sing Street.
And so just to clarify this, Ryan, are you saying that for both movies, the question is what have you been watching and would you recommend it?
Just for Deadpool. Just for Deadpool. Go ahead and comment and let us know that stuff. Sing Street, I'll just let you know now. To win Sing Street, you need to share this video, and then you're going to use two hashtags. You're going to use hashtag Sing Street and hashtag Cinemaholic Productions. And then same thing over the next week by next Sunday. We're going to be looking through all those hashtags on Facebook and on Twitter. And we're going to choose one of those people that shared the video, and that's how you'll win Sing Street. So moving on, Jackie. We've got Jackie here. I'm going to read the synopsis here off of IMDb. It says, following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy fights through grief and trauma to regain her faith, console her children, and define her husband's historic legacy. So Spencer, what did you think about Jackie?
So I'm a little bit conflicted when it comes to Jackie because, see, Jackie is a movie that I admired greatly. Like, I really admired a lot of aspects of this movie. However, I did not really enjoy the experience of watching this movie. I think it has great performances. I think the camera work is incredible. I think the music is incredible. And I think that it really shows us a very interesting moment in history. And that's all this movie really is, which it surprised me. I thought this would be a biopic about her, but it's really more about a moment, a brief kind of horrific moment in history. It tells a lot about, her reaction to the assassination of the president in 1963. And it's really a little bit kind of like a daze. The movie feels like a daze, and I think that's intentional because of what she's going through. It's really discombobulating the way that they kind of like tell this story. And that was kind of my biggest gripe with the movie is I feel like the structure was a little too disjointed, and I didn't really understand what the point of the movie was. I mean, I guess it was a character study of her and her emotions and her feelings going through this. And let me just say, Natalie Portman in this movie is incredible. This is her best work since Black Swan, easily. There are individual scenes in this movie that I thought was like amazing, but I walked away a little bit feeling a little bleak, first of all, and empty. And I feel like a movie about, I don't know, the of this like magnitude, about somebody who is like this, about like JFK's affairs, like all that sort of stuff. It didn't really touch on any of that type of thing. It was more just about the assassination, her response to it. So a little bit conflicted about it. I want to hear what you have to think about this movie. So what did you think of Jackie, Ryan?
That your opinion is very interesting because I think I felt very similar, and I'm very torn about the execution because my favorite parts, like you said, were the acting. Both the whole cast was great. I agree that Natalie Portman, this is some of her best work, and I will pose the question to you after we score it if you think Natalie Portman or Emma Stone is the front runner for the Oscar this year.
Can I answer that right now?
If you want to answer it now, yeah.
I think Viola Davis is the front runner this year. Yes.
Interesting. I'll talk about that in a second then. I loved the music. I think my favorite part was the direction of the movie, which is very interesting because, like you said, it's not a very linear story. It plays with time a lot, and it goes here and there and this and that and that and that and that and that, and you never really know where you are in this moment because it literally takes place within a week, and you never know at which point you're experiencing this, which was good and bad. Like you said, I felt like it was incredible because that's how she was feeling, and this is a character piece. This like you said, the camera work was amazing, and I feel like that credits to the direction that this was a piece made for Natalie Portman. This was to highlight her, like the camera, the moves, and the single shots. You had so many shots that just lingered right here on Natalie Portman, and you could see the depth in the acting there. And it made you feel like you were experiencing this with her, but at the same time it had its low points because, like you said, you don't know the point of the movie. Coming out of it, what was I supposed to get out of it? Why? So I'm very split about that. I can see why they did that, but at the same time, I think the downsides outweigh the benefits of telling the story that way. Overall, I'm going to go ahead and score this an 8.5. I did walk out of it really enjoying it. The acting was outstanding, and I don't know if I can make a fair assessment because I love La La Land so much, and every time I go and see it, I've seen it 9 times now. The acting in La La Land is so phenomenal, and I really think it's a tight race. I really think any other year Emma Stone would win, but out of the two, I think Natalie Portman's got it. She won the SAG. I think she's going to win the Oscar again this year. I want to do a lot more thinking because I haven't even really thought about Viola Davis's performance, so I do want to consider that and weigh it now that you brought that up.
I mean, I guess what I meant by that comment is I think Viola Davis, in my opinion, is the person who deserves it. I guess I hadn't really considered the whole that Natalie Portman won a SAG. Look, I think her work is incredible here. I think that However, she's the only performance in this movie that I really was like blown away by. There were no other actors in this movie that was like, wow, that's an excellent, outstanding performance. It was kind of more, it's very much a Natalie Portman show. As you said, there's many, many close-ups of her face, extreme close-ups of Natalie Portman, just showing her reacting to stuff or, you know, speaking to somebody. And it's really up close and personal. And kind of like you said, with the whole the movie being so disjointed, I feel like, yeah, it might be just disjointed, or that might be the genius of the movie. Like you said, very much putting you into this moment with this character and the chaos of this moment. One thing that really derailed the movie for me, and I don't think that this is a spoiler, because as JFK being assassinated is common knowledge to like most people, I suppose. But they show the assassination in 2 separate scenes, and I thought that was a horrible choice. I thought that they should have shown that all at once.
Oh, yeah.
Because earlier in the movie, there's a scene where she's telling the reporter about the horror of that moment, and it's so effective, so effective. And I was like, show us what you're talking about here, because they're about to, and then they cut away. They like basically blue balls you, and then they come back and they show it, but not until the end of the movie. And by the time, it kind of was just like, oh, I'd forgotten all about this. So I did not feel like and that's the big centerpiece of the movie. So I felt like they should have put more effort into that scene and put us in the horror of that scene with the character, so we could have understood her emotional responses a little bit more. But I feel like there was enough to like here to recommend. I would recommend anybody who has any interest in seeing this movie to seek it out for Natalie Portman's performance alone.
I want to touch on that too, because now that you brought it up, that is kind of an issue for me, that it was disjointed like that. That being said, the moment still worked for me. I think it would have been more powerful as one moment, but I let out audible gasps and noises the second time when, okay, this isn't necessarily spoiler stuff because we all know it happened, but when his head gets blown up and you see the blood everywhere and it's in her lap and she starts grabbing pieces of his head to try and put it back together, I couldn't take it. I was like, oh my gosh, and what am I feeling right now?
Yeah, and then that scene where she's like wiping the blood off her face and just sobbing, and it's really, really close up. The camera's literally like just like right there, and just seeing her emotions of doing that and like scrubbing her face.
Right.
That acting was incredible. That was an insanely well done moment in this movie.
So I think we have a common what's the word?
I don't know. We have a common opinion. Opinion.
Yeah, sure. So we both think that you should check this one out, if for nothing else, Natalie Portman. So I think that's going to wrap up our episode today. Thank you guys for watching. Remind you again, if you want to win Deadpool, comment below and let us know what you've been watching recently and if we should check it out. If you want to win Sing Street, go ahead and share this video on Twitter and on Facebook and use the 2 hashtags, hashtag Sing Street and hashtag Cinemaholic Productions. You can follow me on Twitter at @Rye_Gordon, as well as Instagram. Spencer, where can they follow you?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at SpinnyHand. You can also follow me on Instagram, just Spencer Henderson, all lowercase, all one word. Thank you guys for watching. If you don't want to win the Blu-rays, you should still share this video and subscribe, like, comment. We still would like to hear what you have to say. If you saw either of these movies, let us know what you think. And also, let us know who you think the front runner for Best Actress is this year. We talked about, La La Land and Jackie and Fences, and all 3 excellent, excellent performances. You guys know what me and Ryan thought of La La Land, so we might be a little bit biased on who we probably would think should win. But yeah, let us know what you guys thought of any of these movies, of what you have to think about anything you've been watching. Ryan, you got anything else to add?
No, just stay tuned. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a worst of 2016 video, and we're following that up. We're going to have a lot more reviews coming out. Sundance is soon, and stay tuned because in 2 weeks we are doing the best of 2016 video. So until tomorrow, deuces.